What's up, Whack Pack? Eugenius here, back again. Hope you're all well. Today we're going to be looking at a comparison, and I had completely missed this in the last time I had compared Les Exclusives de Chanel with Frederic Malle, two brands that I'm really attached to. And this is a genre that I'm really attached to. Absolutely love it, and I realized that after reviewing Monsieur, how similar these two really are. I mean, in genres, not really. They don't really smell a whole lot alike. I mean, if once you break them down, but that really aggressive, herbal, medicinal, abrasive patchouli mixed with smoky, churchy frankincense and that benzoin, golden, powdery hues of ambers are just really one of my all-time favorites in all of perfume. And I really want to compare these to Coromandel and Monsieur. But before I start, I want to say my mind is just kind of always in this drive where I can't get out of it. I can't get out of this ego mind, and I'm just really thinking about perfume all the time. And I was like wondering, where was the first of this genre? Where did this all start? Because I have a lot of, that patchouli, frankincense, amber orientals, or woody orientals as the classification would be. And I have a really hard time kind of coming up with it. One of the oldest that I have is, this is Youth Dew. I think this is Estee Lauder. And this definitely is a classic that resides in that hemisphere, along with, you all know this. This is Opium, a much older bottle. A very, God, this is sinister. This is, I can't believe this was marketed towards women. This is really a hard hitter. I can't ever imagine this being released today under a woman's name. This would definitely be, in a niche bottle selling for hundreds of dollars. But those are two of the oldest, and I can't really think of anything older than that. Like, what started this genre? Newer things, Hermès did it with Bellamy, which I love. Love that. Roja's done a version of that that's very similar to Bellamy. Guerlain's done it twice, surprisingly back to back with Heritage. Back to back, I mean by men's designers. And L'Instant de Guerlain, this is the EDT. I prefer this a little bit better than the EDP. Why? I think I find it less sweet. And it's weird, this genre is most often than not, these compositions come sweeter than not, but I can't figure this out. Like, why would they do this twice, 2 times in a row? And my only guess to this is just, this is much more classic feeling, and maybe they just wanted to modernize it with L'Instant. But whatever the reason is, I'm glad that they did, because I really like both of those. This is where it gets interesting. Christian Dior has done it 4 times in their exclusives. I think Mitsal was the first. Mitsal came before Ombre Nuit. And I just put up a couple of sprays of Ombre Nuit in the air just before I started this. And for the first time, I really noticed the cinnamon, just the spice that it adds, and I really like that. I like Ombre Nuit. I just find it a little bit boring. And actually, I like it so much, it's hard for me to say that, because I don't want to tarnish it. I do like it. They've done it again with Spice Blend. So these are all patchouli, frankincense, amber orientals. And lastly, Santal Noir, which I strongly dislike this one. There's just no flow to it. There's no romance. It's all just very aggressive. almost feels like it wasn't even created by a master perfumer. Feels more like a third-tier perfumer put this together. I don't know how this ever passed Dior customs, but it did. But I'll save it for, I had a thought there, but I'll save it for another video. I just realized, like, was Ombre Nuit Dior's response to Christian Dior? I mean, to Coromandel. Interesting. Because I'm always got that, like, Dior's chasing. Chanel, but there is going to be a new Chanel as exclusive about to be released. It might be delayed from what I'm hearing from my sales assistants. It's going to be delayed, but I've heard from other people that have already smelt it. The note breakdown has already been leaked, and I find it very interesting. An Oriental with patchouli, frankincense, and amber, and it sounds also very familiar to the note breakdown of Coromandel. And I can't ever imagine Chanel releasing a flanker, but I'm sure they're going to do something extremely different with it to make it smell nothing like Coromandel. I just find it really, really fascinating because they're just way too classy of a brand to do, you know, that gimmicky thing. But let's get into these. So I really like both of these. Like, you know, I've spoken about both of them extremely and extensively on my channel. To me, there are major differences. They both, you know, they're both very clearly patchouli driven with that frankincense and that ambery base, benzoin base. Both are very sweet. And the major differences is Monsieur's got that really loud rum accord, which kind of fills in. I find patchouli very camphorous. It's very porous. It's very feathery, and it leaves room to be filled. And I find that's what the rum does here. It fills those gaps and gives it the depth. Whereas Monsieur has a lot of that rum, and it's got black, smoky, leathery, tarry accord in the base is what separates it from Coromandel. To me, Coromandel's also very smooth, much more refined. It's absolutely much more refined. That's just the way they do things at Chanel. They're not abrasive. They're not harsh or obnoxious. I've never really met a Chanel that's been obnoxious, especially from the exclusive range. But what sets this one apart is that white chocolate accord in the base. And not only that, but I also find this one maybe even more powdery. And where Monsieur is, I envision black and really dark grays. This one to me is absolutely much more golden. I get those golden hues of powdery ambers, and I also associate more browns to the texture of the patchouli in this. And that's what I say is really the biggest differences. Much more sophisticated, and this to me is just like refined butch, more aggressive, much more aggressive. You're gonna get much more noticed with this stuff. Absolutely. If that's your thing, if you want to get noticed and make a statement, I would say Monsieur is probably more in your favor. But if you want to fly under the radar, if you like these two genres and you want to fly under the radar, Coromandel would be more to that effect. But both are absolutely gorgeous. Monsieur is almost animalic in the opening, and it's much more colorful. I feel like it's more colorful, it's more bold, and it's got a whole lot more contrast to it, which makes it exciting. The Chanel is very smooth and refined and sophisticated. It's certainly less exciting. Now, if I had a choice, if I had to choose one of these, and I hate doing this, I really do, but if I had to choose one, I think you all know that I'd have to go with Coromandel. Just because I've been speaking about it for years, it's one of my true loves. I love just everything about it. And that's not to say I don't love Monsieur. I just feel more comfortable in these softer skin scents. And I don't want to be noticed. You know, I just want to share this for myself, these fragrances. I don't want to go out and draw all this attention towards me. And I think that's what Monsieur is. It's more of a attention getter. It's also, you know, not that it's not refined, it's just not as refined as the Chanel's. I just find the Chanel's just so insanely well put together, and it almost makes me wonder like how they do things differently at Chanel and how they do things at Frederic Malle. Does Frederic Malle have this board of advisors that all sit there and they're like, they sit there with this checklist at the end of the fragrance? They're like, all right, this is done. You know, we don't need to go any further. And I think I've heard him say that it's only just him and the perfumer working together, which is really surprising. I'd imagine that Chanel, just because they're a bigger brand, a bigger entity, they probably have a lot more people that this has to pass through before it gets finalized and released. But I really like the subtlety of Coromandel, but it's just so soft and elegant. And this is a little bit spicier and saltier, animalic. You know, nothing wrong with that, but I just truly like to fly under the radar and not be noticed. That's just my thing, but there you go. That's my comparison. I guess I've always kind of chosen Chanel over everybody, but let me know what you guys think. Coromandel or Monsieur, what's your preference if you've tried them both? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I want to say, drop your comments down below, and if you have a comment, you know, and it's about the video that I've done, don't private message me, because chances are the question that you're asking me, I might not be able to answer, like the guy that messaged me last night asking me to compare it to a certain fragrance that I've never tried before. So drop it in the comments and maybe somebody else can dive in. Most of the people here, they are fragrance nerds and geeks just like me, and they love this stuff, and that's what they're here for. So, you know, don't be shy. Anyway, give this video a like, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.